Hello, welcome back to another video. I'm doing a daily vlog today. I woke up and I decided today is the day. I'm filming it. I've got a lot of little tasks planned for today, so I thought it would make, out of all the days to film, it would be more of an entertaining day to film. I've been filming little bits throughout the day, but I'm only just now getting a chance to sit down and talk about it. So I'll just run you through bits and bobs and I'll pop it up on screen when it's relevant. My alarm goes off at 7:30, but I don't officially wake up until 8 o'clock. And then I did some planning. I have this planning app called Milanote, and I wrote down everything I needed to do this week because there's lots jumbling around in my brain regarding things that need doing. So it really helps just like popping it all down and planning out the week. Then I went to the gym. I had a cycling spin class at I think it was 9:30. So I run to the gym, I do my cycling, and I ran back. Although I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks, so it was, I could definitely tell it was tough. It was very painful and sweaty. Came back, had a shower, and then it was time to get working. Oh, the sun's just coming out now, so the lighting will change. I didn't officially get working until 11 o'clock, and I started by prepping loads of paper to make prints. So I ordered my paper A3 because the A4 paper is always out of stock. I don't know if they stopped making it, but for months now I've only been able to get the A3 paper, so I just trim it. There was a few prints that I'd run out of, so I like to have a couple of each prints just ready to grab, so that every time I pack in orders I don't always have to, you know, set up the printer and get printing. So I was getting prints ready, and then I packed some orders. I had one order from Etsy, and then I had 2 orders which I had to resend. It very rarely happens that orders go missing, so it's quite the coincidence that 2 have gone missing at quite a similar time. Like, did something happen at the post office? Anyway, repackaged them. Some days I have lots of orders to pack, some days I have no orders to pack. So this was kind of middle of the road day. And then I went to the post office. I'd say if I ran, I could get there in a minute. And if I walk, let's say 4 minutes, but who cares? And then I came back and I worked on some tile bits and bobs. If you're wondering what I'm going on about with tiles, I refer to those square collages, those tiny square collages on the wall there. If you can even tell what they are from how far away the camera is, those are all tiny little collages. But before I get on to that, this is the print for this month on Patreon. If you would like to receive an A5 print in the post of this lovely gardening collage, then head over to my Patreon page, and you have to pledge to the Little Snips tier at any point before the end of August, and you'll receive it in the post. Oh yeah, my Patreon is linked in the description. Also, there is currently a sale on my shop. I've launched a sale to celebrate hitting 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, so my clap for that, thank you very much. And hopefully by the time this video goes up, I will be close to, if not have passed, hitting 40,000 followers on Instagram, so it's kind of a joint celebration thing. But if I haven't hit 40,000 by the time this video goes up, just pretend I didn't mention it. It's just celebrating the 50 on YouTube. So if you've had your eyes on some pieces of art of mine, now would be the time to get it. And that's my announcements over. I'll get on with my day, but lots to do. I need to work on my portfolio and collage a cat. So I need to get going. It's now I'm gonna say 1:30. I've had my dinner, I went to the post office, printed off postage labels, went to the post office, had my dinner. That was the order that I did it in. And now I'm gonna do a little task before I jump into a bigger task, because I'm quite looking forward to doing this. I was on holiday last week, and whilst I was on holiday I made some more of these little tiles. If you can hear a bit of background noise, I've got the window open. But I make these tiles for Patreon members. When you join, you can request what you want on the tile. I've got a whole wall of them, and these are some fresh tiles. I have been slacking a little bit with the tiles. I struggle to find the time to dedicate to them now, because I made these on holiday. I didn't have all my art supplies. I forgot to take my pencils. Did I forget, or did I purposely choose not to bring them? Probably chose not to bring them. They are requiring little details adding to them, especially this rooster is crying out for one of these crayons. Okay, the new tiles are up, and I do have a little gap at the top, which is kind of annoying. Maybe I'll get round to making one this week to fill the gap. Sorry about the bad lighting, it's kind of hard to place that light facing towards it, but even then it's not the best lighting. This plant as well is starting to get, well, it's kind of covering up a lot of it. My plants are starting to get out of control, to be honest. Anyway, there you are, that's the whole length of the wall. Almost filled. I don't know if I can really fit many more rows in, because up there, if I go any higher, it's like interfering with the kind of curtain rail there, even though I don't have any curtains. Although it's playing a pivotal role in holding that bit of bunting up. And then down here, I could maybe fit one more row on the bottom, but any further and it's kind of going to get covered. Anyway, it's kind of pointless worrying about it, because at the end of September I'll be moving into a flat with my boyfriend, so I will be saying goodbye to this wall anyway. I would like to take my tiles with me, but I highly doubt they will let me stick, I don't know, 100 tiles to the wall. I was thinking about maybe getting like a plank of wood, like a thin bit of wood, and then sticking them to the wood and then drape, like kind of just draping the wood against the wall. Okay, next thing on the to-do list is I need to tweak a few pictures in my portfolio. So this is my portfolio on my agent's website, and she was going through some little bits that would be worth changing because she was speaking to some publishers and showing them my portfolio, and they really liked it, but there was just a few things that could be changed to make it stand out a bit more. And basically publishers are being very picky. From what she's told me, publishers are being quite picky with eyes at the moment, and so I need to tweak my eyes of my characters. Less of a brown dot, so a smaller brown dot, more white showing. So that's pretty easy. I can just change that in Photoshop. You know, instead of completely repainting it, I could just go in and Photoshop and add a little bit more. On this one, the eyes are fine because he's kind of mesmerised by the disco ball, so it makes sense. But basically, if you give them smaller pupils, it makes it more obvious where they're looking, and it gives them a little bit more character and kind of enhances the expression. Can you see this all right? I don't know how well you can see this, but this is lovely. She really likes that. Just to clarify, she likes all of it, but it's just, this is like the what's that saying? The nitty gritty things that publishers are really looking for at the moment. These are nice. These characters, now this is a big job, I'm not going to get around to this today, but I'd like to completely redo this. I'd like to completely redo this piece of art because it's no longer really my style anymore. These were all painted in watercolour, whereas this girl up here was painted in acrylic, and I much prefer the look of acrylic. So I'm going to redo them anyway, but basically these need to be like redrawn with just more like different expressions, obviously the eye thing as well, and then also just drawing children in like more up-to-date clothing. And then I think that's pretty much it. So that needs redoing, but do that another day. But the thing I can do today is this, and that's just going to be a bit of work on Photoshop, and then okay, these are the changes which have been made. I have been shrinking pupils for about 2 hours now. I can't believe it's taken me so long to do what I thought would be such a simple task, but it was just a lot fiddlier than I thought, and I'm so indecisive. I was moving pupils around. I've moved this everywhere possible until landing on that, which I think is probably where it will end up staying. So I'll show you the before and after, because I don't think it's super obvious before you see the before and realise just how big the pupils were at one point. Looking back at the before, it kind of shocked me at how big the pupils actually were. Alright, so this is the before. You can see she's had quite the pupil shrinkage on here. I think the bigger pupils look cuter, but the smaller pupils have a bit more character, and it's clearer to see exactly where she's looking. And if it's going to help me potentially maybe get work, then I'll happily shrink a pupil or two. And then for this guy, I completely changed the shape of his eye. Although I kind of like how silly this guy looks, but this one obviously has more expression. For this top one, I think the eye change has actually made quite a big difference here. You can really tell where she's looking now. And then I also changed the eye on this piece as well. There you go. The before and after, I do think it looks a lot better on this piece. When my agent was telling me at first to change the pupil size, obviously like I nodded along and I agreed, because I I'll happily do anything to try and get a bit of work. But part of me inside was thinking, no, but I like my big pupils, they're so cute. But actually looking at it like this, it does actually look a lot better. So I suppose it all worked out in the end. For the crocodile in this one, I didn't need to change the eyes because it makes sense that they're big because he's like amazed by the disco ball. Anyway, those are all the little changes I've been doing. It took me around 2 hours to do this, which is way too long for such a simple task. Alright, so I'm doing this voiceover about 2 weeks after I filmed this video, so I'm not quite sure of everything that I did this day. I can't quite remember it all, but I'll try my best to cast my mind back. So I spent about an hour answering emails, responding to comments, responding to messages on Patreon, bits and bobs like that. I try my hardest to get around to messages, but there's so much on the to-do list that sometimes it just always gets pushed to the bottom of the to-do list, and then I end up with messages that I haven't gotten around to answering. So if you sent me a message and I never responded, sorry about that. Sometimes it's just can be a bit overwhelming to respond to them all, but I try my best. But like I said, sometimes the to-do list does not allow me much time to respond to things. Anyway, here I'm working on a cat collage. It's for a top tier Patreon member. I collaged a cat for her last month. Or basically, if you're a top tier member on my Patreon, you basically get a little commission sent to you every month for however many months you're part of the Patreon. So you basically get an A6 commission of whatever you want sent to you. Some people give me, like, send me pictures to collage. Some people just send me like a theme, or like just a keyword, something to do with, like, for instance, I've had someone be a member ever since I started my Patreon, and she's very good at giving prompts. Actually, she'll just things that, like, I wouldn't necessarily think to do, but you know, she gives me a little prompt and then it forces me to go outside my comfort zone, and I end up making some of, like, my favourite pieces of art. So she'll just say, I want something sea themed, or I want something with a birdhouse, and then I go on my merry way and I collage something. But for this woman, I was collaging her cat, so I had a cat to work from. Yeah, so I was working on this started working on it at 7 o'clock and just worked on it until I was kind of done for the day at around 10:30, I think. I can't quite remember. I don't always work this much in a day. I am getting a little bit better at having some kind of work-life balance, although these past few weeks have been quite hectic, so I've not had much of a work-life balance, but I am better at it, but still not the best. There's just so much on the to-do list, so I often just think, oh, I'll just work into the evening, it's fine, because then I can get this thing off my to-do list. You know, as soon as one thing gets ticked off the to-do list, another like 10 things get added, so it's just never ending. But I'm trying to be better at it, so sometimes I have evenings off and I have the occasional weekend. Oh yeah. I'm aware I probably can't keep this up forever. I will get burnt out, and I kind of feel I was a little bit burnt out whilst I was doing this collage, to be honest. I was burnt out for around a couple weeks at some point last month. I can't remember. The start of this month. I was burnt out at some point, but I've gotten past it now. But it does happen. Oh, I got this smudge on the piece of paper, right? I was so close to finishing the collage, and I don't know where this smudge came from. I don't know what the smudge was, like what it was. Where did it come from? I don't know. So I had to rip it off of the piece of paper and stick it all down again. Luckily, you can do this with collage. If this was a painting that I spent ages on, like, tough luck. There's no getting rid of that smudge, and you can't just transfer a painting to another piece of paper. Luckily with collage, it is all paper, you can just rip it up and it's fine. If this was something I was making just for myself, like, I wouldn't bother, I'd just leave it. Because this is a commission, there are standards to maintain, so I had to rip it up and stick it down. Anyway, I'll hand you over to past me to talk about some bits and finish up the video. Alright, I am done with work for today. I don't work this late every day. It's now 10:20. Some days I work this late, other days I'll stop working after kind of 7ish. I finished my cat. I'll pop some nice pictures of it up, some nice video of it up. I don't know, I feel like part of me still wants to change bits, but maybe I just need some fresh eyes. I've been staring at it for a while and I think I just need to move on. It was pretty hard to collage, to be honest, because, like, the entire cat is black. It's hard to kind of make things stand out, so I was trying to use, like, some really like purpley shades and some blue shades, and it was quite tricky to find the right shapes, and I'm too tired, I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, that's not interesting. I'm gonna go to bed, and I hope you've enjoyed this daily vlog. Obviously not as jam-packed as usual videos, because this is just what I've done in one day, whereas they're like videos I make in the past, they're like week of art, so I take the best bits from an entire week and put them in a video, so there's a lot more art. But I thought this would just be realistic. What do I get up to? Some days are like this, where I'm doing lots of little tasks throughout the day. Other days I'm doing art for the entire day, so I'm literally just sat here from waking up to kind of stopping work. Sometimes I'll work from waking up to going to sleep on just one piece of art, which wouldn't make for a very interesting vlog. And other days I'm just doing nothing but editing and looking at my computer screen, so this is one of the more interesting days that I have. Hope you've enjoyed seeing what a professional illustrator does in a day. I'm gonna go to bed. No, I'm not. I need to do some Duolingo. It's an app where you learn a language. I'm learning Spanish on Duolingo, and I need to do it, otherwise I'll lose my streak, and I don't want to lose my streak. And I need to make sure I'm at the top of the leaderboard. Not at the top of the leaderboard, but I like to be in the promotion zone of the leaderboard, but who cares? So I'll Duolingo and then I will sleep. Although I might go downstairs and hang out with my mum for a bit to see what she's watching. I usually go to bed around like 11:30, so I've got a little bit of time. Got a bit of time to kill. Got about an hour. And then I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll repeat the whole thing. Alright then. Oh, don't forget about the Patreon print for this month. Lovely little gardening print if you're interested. Patreon is in the description, and also my shop sale, which is happening as well. And that's all from me. I'll finally go, because I've said I'll go, but then I've not. Bye.